What's up, everybody? This is the Ike's Inspirations podcast, and today I have a great guest named Myles. Myles, can you do us a favor and introduce us to the audience? Tell us about yourself and give us a brief summary of your life story, man.
Yes. I appreciate it. Ike, thank you for your time and thank you for inviting me to speak on this awesome platform of yours, my brother. I've loved some of the episodes you shared with me in which you're pushing to inspire. As Ike mentioned, I'm Myles Melville. I'm Randy and Leo Melville's youngest son. I am the brother of Sterling and Tyler, the husband of Raven, and soon father to be. I'm a Northeastern graduate, proud to graduate the awesome University of Northeastern and be a Husky with my man Ike.
Yes, sir.
And now I'm currently the director of operations for the Melville Family Foundation, which is
Word.
a nonprofit in Dallas where I live, and a nonprofit my father started.
Yeah. Before I ask you questions, I kind of wanted to briefly talk about. I don't know if you remember this, but how we first met in college, bro. I remember I was at Northeastern, and I think I was like a freshman or sophomore, and I was at the lunch table, and I was eating by myself, and I swear, you just came out of nowhere. You smiled at me, and you just sat by my side, bro. I swear, I know, I don't know if you remember that, but you literally just came to me and I was all by myself. You just started talking and asking me questions and getting to know me. And for me, that was personally like a big deal because, you're in college, you're trying to meet new people. And just to have someone like yourself come up to me, that was dope, man.
Man, that's awesome. I still try to practice that. My mom says I have a gift for seeing people who may be unseen. Uh,
Yeah.
that sounds like me. I hate to say I don't remember. I
Yeah.
thought our first interaction was me dunking on you on the basketball court.
No. I had a feeling you weren't gonna remember that. It was at Stetson East, but I remember it pretty clearly. Well,
That's
so about you said you're the director of operations for the Melville Family Foundation, which is cool. What purpose does that foundation serve?
yes. Great question. So I'll kind of riddle that back in our mission statement, and we kind of operate in three swim lanes, right? Our mission statement is to bridge the gap for Brown and Black scholars in Dallas, focusing on academic excellence, uh, economic stability, and food stability. So jobs, economics, and food. We operate in some spaces that are known as food deserts, so people don't have access to fresh produce within a 10-mile radius. So we have health and wellness drives there. We're partnered with North Texas Food Bank. One of our strategic partners is Uplift, which is the largest public charter school in North Texas. So in that's how we focus on our academic excellence swim lane. And then economic empowerment. A handful of our strategic partners help provide scholarships, internships, and then we also provide, other workshops through third-party vendors for financial literacy as well.
Man, that's dope, man. And so what about the program inspired you to join it? Why did you feel the need to be a part of the family foundation? It seems like you got family over there, right?
Yes. So I'll digress. It all stemmed from my father, Randy Melville, who's a former
Okay.
Frito-Lay executive. He worked for Frito-Lay for over 25 years. And then my mother also leads the foundation. I'll digress, right? My mom
Yeah.
has two doctrines, one in theology and one in psychology. And she's the only person I know with two doctrines.
Hey.
In that shows the true academic rigor within, right, kind of the household and the foundation of the foundation, double pun. Um, and my father's mother was a teacher. So my parents actually met at Princeton University. And again,
Hmm.
this academic excellence, right? My parents truly believe in this core value of academics can change the trajectory of someone versus their environment. My father's from Trenton, New Jersey, and my mother's from East Chicago. So for them to be able to meet at Princeton University is an anomaly in itself.
Hmm.
In that, kind of fast forwarding, after my father retired, he felt a calling to get in the nonprofit space and, made some things happen. And here we are today.
Yeah.
I have a background in sales. So I
Okay.
previously worked for AAA corporate, UPS corporate, in
Okay.
sales, which is great, right?
Okay.
Everybody
Yeah.
needs to know how to sell something,
For
but
sure.
my toughest sale is selling people on their free time.
Uh-huh.
a volunteer and just stemming on, kind of those three swim lanes I was mentioning. We have a
Yeah.
handful of different opportunities, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I remember, bro, when I first met you, I met you in college, and I met you as like a college athlete. And yeah, I don't remember I don't remember you dunking on me, but I do remember beating you at a 1-on-1. I remember beating no, no, I'm gonna be honest, you definitely beat me more than once. But I remember there was a 1-on-1 and I beat you, but I got
You beat
lucky.
me? Were there any witnesses?
Nah, I was chucking up a bunch of threes and I got real lucky. I'm gonna be honest, bro. But I'm curious because you were a college athlete and now you're like the director of operations. And one of the things I kind of was curious to learn from you was what was the transition from going from a college athlete to now becoming a director of operations? Did you always feel like you were gonna play basketball or was this planned? What was that transition like?
Yeah, great question, Ike. And I'll give a little more insight to the story. I was a college athlete, then transferred to Northeastern, and had the opportunity to continue as a walk-on, which I didn't. And that can also be hard, right?
Mm,
Putting so many eggs in one basket, just as a student athlete, especially as a young person, right? Sometimes we aren't able to see beyond our immediate means or even think beyond our immediate decision. So I think transitioning from a student athlete to just a scholar was tough.
mm,
But I think in that athlete mentality, you can attack anything the same. So I think
mm.
in that, right, as you can see, Kobe,
Yeah.
Mamba mentality,
Mamba mentality.
better, or one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits, focus on the system.
That's a great book. Hmm.
And I think in that, right, you focus on the system of being becoming versus being, right?
Hmm.
Versus doing this thing, you focus on changing trajectory. And I think that was a lot of the similarities which sports and any profession have, learning to
Yeah.
attack the day every day relentlessly and, knowing you can only control your attitude and effort.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you mentioned that book, Habits by James Clear. One of the biggest things I learned about that book that I try to take from to this day is that instead of focusing on the result, you want to focus on the person that you're becoming at that result. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yes.
for you, you went from the identity shift of an athlete to a student and a director of operations. And how was that change in identity like for you? Was it a seamless one, or was it something that happened over time? Can you speak towards that process and your change in identity?
Yes, yes. And I think, it's all of the Lord's divine timing, right? I think a lot of times we want certain things and
Yeah,
accolades happen on our time. And
yeah,
sometimes it does, but other times, we're like, why isn't this working? Or why
yeah.
my time cut and I've committed this, that. And I think a lot of it, right, as you see, Melville Family Foundation. And I think the biggest thing in it is legacy. And just knowing I
Mm,
have the precious limited resource of spending time with my parents on a common goal of helping other people.
mm,
And that in itself, I'm working my dream job. So I think everything in my past and all of my past accolades have brought me to this moment in time, which have allowed me to fulfill my role and present certain opportunities that we may not have had.
yeah, man, that's so dope, man. When I hear you speak about your family foundation, a key theme that kind of comes out to me is like family excellence, and it seems like you're really big on family, man. Where did that principle come from, and why is family so important to you?
Yes, great question, Mike.
Yeah,
As I mentioned, time is our most precious resource, right?
yeah,
A lot of times society can trick us into wanting likes or wanting dollars or wanting cars or wanting women or wanting the new
yeah.
technology or whatever it may be. But the reality of it is our time is limited, and that's for
Mm,
everyone, whether you're
yeah.
old, young. And I think in that, it's the understanding, right, that this nuance of time is the true gem.
Mm,
So I think I've learned that spending time with my family is a catalyst of like my why.
mm.
So in that, I'm able to kind of kill two birds with one stone, working with
Yeah,
spending time with them. And mind you, I just told you about some of the feats my parents have,
Yeah.
already accomplished. So
Yeah.
beyond them being my parents, they're these phenomenal people who
Yeah.
I have enough wherewithal to see. If you want to be wealthy, do what wealthy people do.
Yeah.
You want to be athletic, train with the athlete. You know what I mean?
I
So I
tell
have
people. Yeah.
wherewithal to see. Maybe I want to stay close to these people.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I was speaking to I love what you said about like you are who you're surrounded by. You know, they say, tell me who your five friends are, and then I'll tell you who you are. And it sounds like, it sounds like your family are great people. Another thing that I wanted to like quickly, I wanted to ask you about is that in regards to like your family, what do you feel like is the biggest principle that your family has instilled in you?
I think you might have hit that nail right there in your previous statement, Ike.
Oh, for real?
Be aware of your surroundings, and you are the company you keep. I
Yeah.
think you can say that for anybody in my family. We're very particular about who we spend our time with, how we spend our energy, what we even consume consciously and unconsciously, right? Like
Yeah.
the books,
Yeah. Yeah.
things like that are what in essence forms our mind.
Yes.
And I think sometimes people aren't as aware as they may need to be or as intentional. And how I spend my time, again, I'm very intentional about that and where I put those efforts. So I think that's something my family's always put in me as a young boy, right?
Yeah.
Where I've been moving as a kid, certain paradigms and structures shift, but, you always can realize who true friends are and maybe have a gut feeling about certain things you may or may not want to do.
Yeah, 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 man. I completely agree, man. I love that you're into family, bro. Growing from a Nigerian household, family is a very big important thing for me, bro. And I like that you said that it gives you your why. It kind of gives you like a reason to be great. It gives you a reason to be purpose, to have purpose. One thing that I'm curious to learn from you, man, because we both graduated from college, bro, and I feel like once you're done with school, one of the things about graduating from college is that you have no one to really guide you anymore. So you kind of have to become like your own guidance, bro. I'm just curious, can you speak towards the transition of transitioning from college to the life that you have now? What was the hardest adjustment that you had to make?
Man, um, I don't think I can answer that question in one specific term, right? I think
Yeah,
transitioning from school just to the workforce alone was challenging for me.
yeah,
In college, you have a handful of freedoms and obligations, but in real life, you have responsibilities.
yeah,
You have bills, you have
yeah,
insurance, you
yeah.
have, and like I said, all of us are an accumulation of our decisions to this current moment.
Yes.
So at
Yeah.
that point, I started to realize too the decisions I make post college affect my future a lot more than when I was in college.
Mm. Mhm,
So
mhm.
the choice not to go to class versus not go to work.
Yeah. If you don't go to class, like nothing really happens to you. But if you don't go to work, then you might not be at home. You might not have a home
You might not
the
have a
next time.
home.
That's
So,
a fact.
just realizing the weight of my decisions and the repercussions or rewards.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, something that was huge for me was just increasing my intellectual capacity. And that
Okay.
really happened after college. A lot of
Mm.
college for me was merely networking, getting my degree. But
Mhm.
after college, I really started to read. Um,
Mm.
I don't know if you can have a
No,
small.
no, I see you. You're well read, bro. You
Uh,
mentioned the Atomic Habits. What other books have you been reading?
my wife and I are expecting our first child here in July. So I have
Oh,
a ton of dad books going on.
awesome,
Um,
man.
I'm working on a book myself right now. I'm writing a short devotional for people with anxiety and depression.
Wow.
I'm reading Dale Carnegie, How
Oh,
to.
that's a great book. Yeah.
And then last, big advocate of getting into AI. I know I'm a
Oh,
little behind
wow.
the curve, but I know that's kind of where we're transitioning, right? So I think a lot of what we experience in life, we assume to be so unique. and not to
Yeah.
hurt feelings. It's not.
Wow,
A
man.
lot of the experiences and emotions we've had already have been written about in a book. It's just a matter if
Yeah.
we pay for the receipt or not.
Yes, yeah, yeah. One of the greatest things about books that I love, man, is that every single problem that you're currently going through, the answer could be found in a book. But sometimes it's a lot of people don't know that, and it's kind of hard to get that information because they don't know where to start. So I'm so glad that you're a fan of reading. I'm such an avid reader too, and I could talk about books all day. You did mention that you got married, and you're planning on having a kid, man, and that is incredible, man. Before we talk about like, because now you're creating your own family, and before we kind of get into that, I wanted to just kind of ask you about marriage and relationships. How do you go about navigating that, and how long have you been married to your girl?
Yeah, great question. I think this is a specific race, right? Each
Yeah.
relationship and each person has to run their own race. So what
Yeah.
works for one pair may not work for the other. I think
Yeah.
in that, right, everything boils down to communicating and over
Yeah.
communicating. Communication is key. Um, my wife and I, we've been married now. We got married in August, so we'll be a year here in about 4 months, uh,
Okay.
which is super exciting.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
it's been great, man. We're having our child here due in July, which is super exciting. We're having a girl, and we're just thrilled to know we're building legacy. Um,
Yeah.
I think in that right is knowing you have the right person to start
Yeah.
this legacy and journey with,
Yeah.
because it's a life tie.
Yeah.
You want to have a strong foundation for this new being of life, uh,
Yeah.
which is completely dependent on you. So
Yeah.
I think that's the exciting part and the challenging part. Just like you were mentioning, and I was mentioning, I think I have 8 dad books, like 8 first time dad books. And I say that half joking, but I really do have that many. But
Yeah.
knowing, right, at the end of the day, you'll never fully be prepared, but there's a lot of key and grace and information, right? So when certain things do happen or certain situations arrive, you have the information and the capability to apply what you may know as a solution or what's going on.
Yeah, man, that is so awesome, man. Because we in the beginning of the podcast, we talk about the importance of family and how important it is for you. And now you're already part of a family, but you're about to create another one. And as the man of the household, you're gonna be the leader. How does it feel, man, to start a family, man? I don't want to say I'm jealous. I'm inspired because, man, like that's one of my life goals, man. I want to start my own family and have a little Ike, bro. Like, how does it feel? How does it feel to start your own, like, be in the process of
Honestly,
starting
it's
one?
it's it's bliss, it's glee, it's phenomenal. It's almost breathtaking watching
Yeah,
my wife grow, right? Just it's,
yeah,
oh my gosh, Um, but in that, I'm just thrilled. I don't know how, and we're blessed, right?
yeah,
There's so many different. Life could be so different. I have to say to a lot of my friends,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
we could be in so many different situations, but for us to have the type of family support, emotional, physical, spiritual, financial support we have, we
yeah,
both are blessed and have jobs. We're able-bodied. We
yeah,
have food. So, man, I couldn't be more happy. And I think oftentimes as we just have more stuff, right? In the
yeah,
modern day, it's easy to kind of say, oh, well, we need this or I want that. I think
yeah,
vice versa. Be thankful for what you already do have and what's
yeah,
been
yeah,
done for you and what you can do.
yeah.
So, just reeling in the moment, basking in God's glory, and thankful, bro. It's just been a fun trip, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, I feel like I'm glad that you're grateful, man, and I think that plays a big role in your happy spirit. Ever since I met you and known you, man, you've always seemed to have a smile in your face, or at least you always seem to just be smiling and and laughing, bro. Which is one of the things I liked about you. You always and your smile was infectious. It helped me smile and helped other people. Just stay in good spirits, bro, because I feel like that's what life is about. Just loving life, engaging with life, and having a great time. And I'm grateful that you're grateful, because I feel like gratitude is the best way to continue growing. You can't grow if you're not grateful for what you already have, because then you have no incentive to grow. So, you're talking about you're about to become a father, and I'm just kind of curious, like, are you doing anything to prepare? I know you have a book right now. I mean, yes, I know you said you brought some books. I'm just curious, what books are you reading to try to prepare?
Oh, dude, I have a ton of first time dad books. So like I mentioned, this is literally called First Time Dad. Then I have What to Expect When You're Expecting. Then I have We're Expecting. Then this is a plethora of these type of books. In essence, they give a bunch of information. Just some are more in depth than others. Um,
Okay.
Financially,
Oh
planning,
yeah.
budgeting, that's
Oh,
that's your
sweet.
kicker there, my boy. You know what I'm saying? Like this, yeah, you have a feeling, okay, boom, that's 10K, my boy. And, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
that's just a part of it, bro. You gotta, part of being responsible is financial responsibility.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Financially preparing. Now my wife's working on the baby shower, the registry. We're changing our guest room into a nursery. Um,
Yeah.
the crib should be here. Just ordered a crib and have a bassinet coming. So, uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
everything really, the books is just kind of the
Just
tip of the
part of it.
iceberg.
Yeah.
We have doctor's appointments. We have a midwife. We have
Oh
a
my
doula
gosh.
also. We just
Yeah.
started our birthing classes.
Wow.
Working on packing hospital, but so just a ton
Dude,
of
that is,
going
dude,
on.
I'm so excited for it. And even like outside of just a kid, I'm sure even just for your relationship, that's probably like a whole journey in itself. Like y'all probably growing even stronger, man, which is beautiful, man. And we're talking about all these great things that you're experiencing, bro. And it's honestly just great to reconnect with you and see, man, you seem like you're just doing great, and I'm happy for you. One thing that I would like to say is, because life is full of ups and downs, and one of the things I'm curious to learn is, like, what is the one of the most difficult things that you personally been through, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, man. Um, so it's funny you said this earlier. The reason I'm working on this short devotion is because I deal with anxiety and depression
Oh
myself.
wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yes, for sure.
Wow.
And a handful of other things, but I
Okay.
think losing my grandfather, and I've just dealt with a lot of death early.
Okay. Mhm.
So I think I have a different perspective on death. And that's right. Again, just because we're young doesn't mean tomorrow's promise.
Yeah.
You know, uh,
Yeah, man. I'm just curious, man. Like, I didn't even know that you dealt with that. I know there's a lot of people out there who deal with anxiety and depression. I'm gonna be honest. You're the last person how I would have ever guessed to go through that, because you always put a smile on my face. But during those times of anxiety and depression, how do you go through that? What are some tips to, like, for others who may possibly be going through that, to get out of that rut? You
man,
know,
great question, Ike. I think in that, right, when you're feeling these ways, you have to be proactive and intentional. I think a lot of people don't realize the devil wants you to isolate. So when you're going through these phases, it's
yes,
easy to not respond to people or answer your phone or even leave a room. So I think in that you have to be intentional of maybe going for a walk or reaching out to a close friend or even speaking with
yeah,
counselors. I've spoken with a handful of counselors. I think sometimes people get discouraged when they don't find that counselor the first time. But,
yeah,
you got to think of it as dating.
yeah,
You may not
yeah,
find that person the first time, but when you
yeah,
do, it'll be good.
yeah,
I think that worked well for me. I journal, I write all the time. That's very powerful for me. And then, kind of where this all started, right? Basketball and
mm.
exercise. I work out every day,
Good
uh,
for you, man.
whether it's just a walk or going to the gym or going for a run. And I've had both my thumbs done. I don't think you see.
Okay. Okay.
I got my shoulder done. I got 2 screws in my foot. So
Damn.
just understanding the value of health and being able
Yeah.
to walk on your own. Shoot, that was probably one of the toughest things, man. Having
Yeah.
my foot surgery, not being able to walk on my own for maybe 2 months. That was very
Yeah.
challenging.
No, man. Dude, I appreciate you sharing that experience with you, man. With me. I I wouldn't, when I go through like times of sadness and emotional turmoil, I don't know, one of the things that helps me get out of the rut is like what you said, like keeping yourself with other people, man, and just talking and being active, man. It's
Yeah.
kind of one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because it gives me an excuse to network with really great people, bro, like and stay active and just keep pushing forward, you know what I'm saying? I'm curious to learn about your experience with therapy, bro, because I'm just curious, because I feel like therapy for men versus therapy for women can be is a lot different experience. I know one of the things that can be hard for men in therapy is speaking on their own emotions and kind of having to talk through that. How was your experience in therapy? Was it effective for you? Do you still do it? Like, can you speak towards that?
Yeah, no, I definitely can. I think it's hard, especially per society, right? Black men aren't supposed to speak on
Yeah,
traumas or neglect or pains or even, like you said, emotions. And the cold reality is young Black males are the most
yeah,
likely to deal with trauma, neglect, or
yeah,
issues. So, in that, I think we just have to find sanctuary in knowing that it's okay to move forward. You don't have
yeah,
to stay hard or put this exterior or facade on. And man, I had ran into a slew of terrible counselors.
yeah.
This is a slew. I'm not gonna say anybody's name. I'm not gonna say anybody's name.
No, you got you, bro.
Just terrible, bro. Terrible, terrible. Mind you, I said my mother has her doctorate in psychology, so I know a lot more than the average client.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, you know,
Bro, I like that you acknowledge that, because I feel like one of the things about therapy, nowadays mental health promotion is kind of becoming trendy, and everyone is referring each other to therapists. But I've heard a lot of stories of people going to therapy and they're like, "Yo, this isn't helping me, bro. Like, this therapist sucks." And I like that you acknowledge that. Like, sometimes it's really about like who you're going to
match.
instead of like,
All
yeah,
about the match. For example, I know your skill set isn't dribbling the ball. You're gonna shoot it. So you need me to pass it to you. I'm not gonna have you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You know
sir.
what I mean? So that's a match, knowing certain things. And I think in that, right, certain things can be inferred and understood already when you see a Black person.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have to explain to you why I'm afraid of the police, because you already understand what's going on.
Yeah.
In all reality, bro, like all
Yeah.
seriousness. Or like,
Yeah.
I don't have to explain to you why I asked for a bag leaving the store.
Yeah. 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 So do you feel as a Black man it's important for you to have a Black therapist, or do you feel like maybe it would be even more beneficial to have someone who has a different perspective from you based on your experience?
No, I think you need a Black
You
therapist.
Black, okay.
I
Yeah.
think you need a Black therapist. I think all Black people should bear arms. I think, there's just certain things in America and how society has bred us, like, you have to just be prepared for.
Yeah.
As I said, certain things you don't have to explain.
Yeah.
If I'm going, and again, whatever works, it's about the match. But again, if I'm having a traumatic experience because I was arrested undutifully for walking down the street, and then I go see someone that looks like the person that did, or even may not even understand why I was arrested.
Yeah.
Or again, it could just be something as simple as, certain conversations about financial literacy and how that can be taboo in Black culture.
Yeah.
That's hard to explain to someone if they don't understand that culture.
No, dude, I completely understand, dude. I remember I went to a therapist once, seeking guidance, and I went to him, and I was, trying to get help. And within the therapy session, I felt like I was doing therapy for him because he was doing more talking than me. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Is this for you or for me, bro?
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, bro, I don't know if this therapy thing is for me. But I personally feel like some of the best therapists in my life are my closest friends, like the people who actually know me, because I feel like they can ask like specific questions that are catered towards your personal experience. Like no matter how skilled the therapist is, sometimes they don't know, they only know you to such an extent that they can only help you on based on what they know. But my personal experience, sometimes I like to lean on some of my friends, the friends who are better listener. I don't like the friends who can just talk all the ones who kind of rather listen. That's been helpful for me, you know.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I would like to respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Merely because one, that's hard to consistently put on a friend, right?
Sure.
We're from a mutual friendship stance, right?
Sure.
And I'm only speaking from experience. I'm not saying this is your outcome.
Yeah.
So one, just because it can be very taxing for that friend who is now the appointed therapist, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, damn, what happened? Oh, I don't know. Well, dang, what happened to our friendship? You know? And then second, you know, although they may be a good listener, a good therapist should be a listener first and ask questions second. And then, right, as a specialist, they'll be able to provide tools which will then help you moving forward versus instead of just coming to this point of solution to call this right.
No, but I think what you said is incredibly valid. Another thing that I didn't even acknowledge was like, you know, like, because for therapists, you're going to them consistently, and that could be emotionally burdening if you're doing that with a friend. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, you're just using me every time you know what I'm saying? Nah, I feel that, bro. I feel that, man. And I'm glad that you pointed that out. I think that's a valid point, man. You know, one of the things that I would, you know, because you talked about police trauma. And I'm kind of, I don't know. I sounds like you've had your share of experiences as a police, and unfortunately, I've actually had a lot of unfortunate experiences with police. Do you mind speaking about that and how that kind of played a role in your mental health?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think a lot of it too, right, is per our society.
Yeah.
So whether it's how police are taught to engage, or police are taught to be confrontational, or even communicate. But I think, you know, and this goes back to just being a black man, bro. I'm a large black man with visible tattoos, you know, so certain interactions happen all the time, you know, and I work in the inner city. You know, a prime example I can think of is in Boston. I'm walking down the street with my buddy. I push him jokingly. We're making a joke, and 2 squad cars pull up, and they try to detain me, saying I was trying to incite a fight. And, you know, my friends tell them, you know, we're friends. But, you know, that's just as a prime example of being black in America, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times things are inferred naturally as humans, rather than given dialogue. So, you know, unfortunately, again, this goes back to certain things that have to be explained. You know, I understand why you may get a little jumpy when you see them lights behind you versus someone else. You know, or I may understand why you don't want to shake his hand because, you know, he may be at this event, but I saw him beat up 4 of my cousins.
Dude, I mean, unfortunately, dude, I have so many police stories that, you know, I see you got the Tupac thing too, so you're probably you got he's like, you know, the fuck the police, nah, I'm cool. but like, what? That's my guy, man. I love we both love Tupac, man. Tupac and I, we almost share the same birthday, Gemini season. But anyway,
Gemini season.
Gemini. But what are the things that I'll share a quick story of you. When I was at Northeastern, dude, one time I was, you know, by the Popeyes. I was by the Popeyes just eating food, having a good time. And then one of the cops came up to me, and all of a sudden they just started interrogating me. They're like, hey, you know, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What I'm like, bro, I'm just eating Popeyes like with a friend. And they just kept asking me questions, trying to interrogate and see if I was doing anything. And they said that the reason why they were interrogating me was because I looked like a suspect that that was actually doing some type of crime, like a 5'9", 5'10" black man. I just happened to fit the profile, so they just started interrogating me. That's just one of many stories. But I'm not gonna talk. I don't want to talk about police trauma all day, but it's just kind of unfortunate, like the stuff that we have to go through simply for being black.
Yeah, and I mean that again just plays to the strength of therapy or counseling. If we're running into this the most, doesn't make sense to have tools to help us move forward and through it.
Yeah, man. No, man. And I'm glad that you have you got those tools. One question, because I like to ask this introspective question, like knowing what you know now, Myles, what would you tell your younger self, and how would that younger kid respond to the advice that you have today?
Well, you know what, Ike, is funny, right? As we look at each other and speak on being Geminis and just knowing the lays of the land come with being that type of person. I know for a fact I could have told my younger self whatever I wanted, the best advice in the world. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do what I want, how I want, when I want.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, I call it the tattoo effect.
Okay.
It's in my kids, a lot of scholars I work with these days. No matter how good of diction, vernacular, word choice I have, nothing will give you the simulation or this experience of a tattoo until you get it.
Yes.
I can explain it to you. I can tell you how it feels. I can even tell you what it'll sound like.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter until you go through it yourself.
Yeah.
Certain things are just like that, bro.
Yeah.
A lot of things are like that in life. A lot of the things I went through made me like this for a reason. So I can stand up certain stuff.
Yeah. Bro, I love that you said that, bro. As I've gotten older, I'm kind of learning that the best form of wisdom is life itself and the experiences that you get from it. I'm kind of learning that there's only so much you can tell somebody. One of my favorite quotes that I recently read from a book is when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So like, usually people aren't really ready to receive help until they actually like start like asking for it. But if you're just kind of giving people advice for no reason other than you just feel like they need help, people aren't really ready to receive it at that time. No,
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of times the solution comes from the challenge.
Yeah.
Not external, not somewhere else.
Yeah.
It comes from within the challenge.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
And just like you said, the teacher will appear like, it ain't nobody receiving nothing we didn't ask for. Yeah. We don't want what you're selling over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel you, bro. And like, so if you were to talk to your younger self and you'd be like, yo, nigga, like, go work hard or go do this. It's like, bro, I already got the answers, bro. Why are you telling me all this? I didn't even ask for this.
I'd be like, who are you?
Who are you?
I'd be like, I'm you. I'm the future person for you. Yeah, all right.
Bro, like, get out of here.
Nice.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that I had to start learning as I've gotten older, when to give advice and when to not give advice. I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, I always kind of felt like I knew it all, so I was so quick to try to help others and try to give people advice when it wasn't the time. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm kind of learning that I only really give advice when someone asks for it, and then
I'll do you one better. Something I've learned currently is I ask people what type of listener they're looking for.
Okay. Can you expand on that? Yeah.
Expand on that, brother. Because sometimes, right, just like what you're saying, sometimes you might want to call a friend or whatever just to vent.
Yeah.
I'm just venting. I don't need you to be logical with me. Just shut up. Just listen real quick. Just nod your head when I go right.
Yeah.
Sometimes somebody's looking for emotional advice.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone doesn't want you to tell the solution. Just tell me the tool to use.
Yeah.
Just tell me what book to read.
Yeah. I like that, man. I like that you really express those nuances, because everyone wants to be listened to differently, especially when it comes to women. Sometimes when you're dealing with women, you can get confused. Sometimes they don't want to hear an answer. They just want to be understood and felt like they're not crazy when they're.
That's all of us. That's all of us, because we're all emotional creatures, right? And
For sure.
our logic only works when our emotions are aligned.
For sure. That's a fact. That's a fact, man. And I'm glad that you acknowledge that. One of the things I'm also kind of learning is like, if someone is going through some type of issue, instead of telling them what to do, it's kind of, I think it's sometimes it's even better to show them what to do. So, or be them. Like if someone is saying like, yo, hey, Ike, like I need help losing weight or blah blah blah, I'm exercising, and instead of telling them probably what they heard a bunch of times, like, yo, you gotta eat healthy and go to the gym. It's like, yo, bro, let's go to the gym at blah 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 time. Like actually be there with them, and instead of kind of telling them what to do, you know. I don't know, that's something that I feel like is a lot more effective than just giving advice all the time.
That's do you know who David Goggins is?
Yeah. Know who he is. Yeah. Hey, David, what's up, man? Yo, how did you meet David Goggins, bro? That's awesome.
Just a little something, but
you're him, right? You're just that guy.
Him and Jocko Wilkins, extreme leadership, bro. You know, especially when it's in your inner circle or you're in a relationship, everything boils down to you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to take that extreme, right?
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Let me figure out how I could lead better.
Yeah.
Don't dispatch the blame to others. Figure out what you can do differently.
Yeah.
To change the outcome. And I think if more people can accept that responsibility, bro, a lot of the outcomes would be a lot better.
Yeah, I love that, bro. Like sometimes, like that's kind of what I started to do to myself. Sometimes I would give people advice and they would take it the wrong way and it may backfire. I take accountability and I'm like, that's my fault for not understanding that they weren't ready to receive the message at that time. So I'm taking my own accountability, even though I was simply trying to help that person, you know? So yeah, I agree, man. That's awesome. And man, yeah, that's cool that you met David Goggins, man. That dude is hard, man.
He's hard, man. Twice.
Wow. Okay. Where at? Just curious.
Here in Dallas, ran with him twice. He donated to the foundation.
Hey, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man.
Gotta seize opportunity, bro. You gotta seize opportunity.
Bro, yeah, bro. Yo, bro, that's awesome. Hopefully one day, hey, maybe I have David on this podcast, bro. That'll be super lit, bro. I'll be honored to have him. Love to have him. You know, I'm grateful for your presence, man. Thank you for coming on this platform to share your story. Thank you for being vulnerable, man. And honestly, it was great reconnecting with you, man. This podcast was one of the funner ones I've had. It was full of laughter, but we also kind of like had good wisdom and gems shared. So thank you for sharing, man. If people want to reach out to you or learn more about you, how can they contact you?
Man, go to the Melville Family Foundation.com. Check out what we're doing. We're also on LinkedIn, but I'm not on social media myself. I'm just a ghost. But I just focus on the work I'm doing, the task at hand. And you know, this was nothing new. This was always how our dialogue used to go.
Yeah,
it was in the cafeteria. In the dorm, you know, we would laugh, we would joke, we'd have some serious moments, we'd have some teaching moments, we'd have some tools, but the main thing is we always learned from each other.
Yeah. And that's why I felt the need to reach out to you, because I kind of knew that it was gonna be somewhat like this. The energy of the podcast would be like that, full of laughter, but also sharing some valuable moments. And I'm glad we did this podcast. It was awesome, man. And I'm definitely gonna try to stay in touch, my guy. You know,
we got some investments to make, brother.
Oh yeah,
we got money to make. No, definitely stay in touch, Ike. I'll do a better job myself. Thanks for the opportunity to speak on this podcast and use your platform. If there's any people I can help connect you with, man, it'd be an honor. But no, this is great, and I can't wait to come back.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we can do this again, man.